I thought success was about earning. Japan taught me it's about needing less. What if everything we've been taught about success is backwards? What if the real wealth isn't in our bank accounts, but in how little we actually need to feel happy? Sounds crazy, right? Well, stick around, because Japan just changed everything we thought we knew. We've all been there, haven't we? Scrolling through social media, seeing people with their fancy cars, designer bags, and those perfect vacation photos, and somewhere in the back of our minds, there's this little voice saying, we need more. More money, more stuff, more everything. That's what success looks like, right? That's what we've been told our whole lives. But here's something wild. When we look at Japan, one of the wealthiest nations on Earth, we see something completely different. We're not talking about a poor country making do with less. We're talking about a place where people could afford almost anything they want, yet they choose to live with way less than most of us would ever consider. And the kicker? They seem happier for it. The moment everything changed. Picture this. We're walking through a neighborhood in Tokyo, expecting to see mansions and luxury cars everywhere. After all, Tokyo is one of the most expensive cities in the world. But instead, we see something that stops us in our tracks. The apartments are tiny. We're talking about spaces that would fit inside most American living rooms. The cars parked on the streets? They're these adorable little compact things that look like toy cars compared to the massive SUVs back home. And the clothes people are wearing? Clean, simple, nothing flashy. Nobody's walking around covered in logos trying to prove anything. It hits us right then and there. These people aren't struggling. They're choosing this. They're making a conscious decision to live with less. And they look peaceful doing it. There's no stress on their faces, no desperation to keep up with anyone. So what's actually going on here? Well, Japan has this whole different way of thinking about life that goes back centuries. They have this concept called mottainai, which roughly means feeling regret over waste. But it's deeper than just not throwing things away. It's about respecting what you have and really appreciating it. When you buy something, it's not just another purchase. It's a commitment to care for that item and use it fully. Then there's danshari, which is all about decluttering your life. But again, it's not just about cleaning your closet. It's about refusing to bring unnecessary things into your space in the first place. These aren't just trendy lifestyle hacks that popped up on Instagram. These are principles that have been woven into Japanese culture for generations. Walk into a traditional Japanese home and you'll see exactly what we mean. The rooms feel open and calm. There might be one beautiful scroll hanging on the wall or a single flower arrangement carefully placed. Everything has its purpose. Nothing is there just to fill space or show off. And somehow, these minimalist spaces feel richer and more peaceful than rooms stuffed with furniture and decorations. Now, let's talk about what's happening on our side of the world. We've built our entire definition of success around accumulation. Get the degree, get the job, get the promotion, get the bigger house, get the nicer car. It never stops. The finish line keeps moving further away. Research shows that the average American household carries over $13,000 in credit card debt. Think about that for a second. We're literally paying interest on stuff we bought months or years ago, stuff we might not even use anymore. We're working extra hours to pay off things we thought would make us happy, but probably just sit in our garages or closets now. And here's the really tough part. Studies from places like Princeton University found that after our basic needs are met, more money doesn't actually make us happier. Sure, there's a baseline where having enough money matters a lot. Nobody's saying poverty's great, but once we're comfortable, once we can pay our bills and have a little cushion,
Chasing more money doesn't add much to our happiness, yet we keep chasing it anyway because that's what we've been programmed to do. How Japan does money differently. Here's where things get really interesting. The average savings rate in Japan sits somewhere around 10% of income. Compare that to many Western countries where people are barely saving anything at all. Some folks are living paycheck to paycheck on six-figure salaries. How does that even happen? Japanese culture has this beautiful relationship with money that feels almost alien to us. Money isn't seen as something to flash around or use to impress people. It's seen as security, as peace of mind, as freedom. When you need less to be happy, you need less money. And when you need less money, you have more choices in life. You can take a job you actually enjoy instead of just chasing the biggest paycheck. You can spend time with people you love instead of working overtime to pay for things you don't really need. Walk through Tokyo during rush hour and you'll see something fascinating. Yes, people are working hard. Japan definitely has its own issues with work culture. But after work, you don't see people flooding into luxury stores trying to decompress by shopping. You see them at small local restaurants, enjoying simple meals with friends, or walking through parks, or stopping by bookstores. Their idea of treating themselves doesn't require a credit card. What this means for us today. Now, we're not saying everyone needs to move to Japan or live in a tiny apartment. That's not the point at all. The point is that we have a choice. We can choose to question the story we've been sold about what success should look like. We can choose to ask ourselves what we actually need versus what we've been told we should want. Start small. Look around your living space right now. How much of what you own actually adds value to your life? How much of it just sits there, taking up space and mental energy? Think about your last few purchases. Did they make you happy, or did that happiness fade within days or even hours? The beautiful thing is that this shift in thinking doesn't require some massive, dramatic change. It's about small decisions that add up over time. Maybe it's deciding not to upgrade your phone this year because the one you have works perfectly fine. Maybe it's cooking at home more often instead of constantly eating out. Maybe it's finding free activities that bring joy instead of always spending money for entertainment. The bigger picture. Here's something we're thinking about. Our planet is struggling under the weight of our consumption. Climate change, pollution, resource depletion, all of these things are connected to our endless appetite for more stuff. When Japan teaches us that we can be happy with less, it's not just good for our bank accounts and our mental health. It's good for everyone. There's also something powerful about opting out of the comparison game. Social media has made it so easy to constantly measure ourselves against others. But when we shift our focus from earning more to needing less, we stop caring what everyone else is doing. Their success doesn't threaten ours. Their new car doesn't make us feel inadequate. We're playing a completely different game now. So, where does this leave us? Well, maybe it's time to redefine what success actually means. Maybe success isn't about the size of our paycheck or the square footage of our house. Maybe it's about having enough, whatever that means for each of us personally. Maybe it's about the quality of our relationships, the peace in our minds, and the freedom to live according to our own values instead of someone else's expectations. Japan didn't invent minimalism or simple living. Cultures around the world have understood these principles for centuries. But in our modern world, where we're constantly bombarded with messages telling us we need more, Japan offers a powerful reminder. They show us that even in a wealthy, developed, modern society, there's another way to live. We don't have to earn more to feel successful. We can simply need less. And in that simple shift, we might just find everything we've been looking for all along: the peace, the freedom, the happiness. It was never about having more. It was always about appreciating what we already have and recognizing when enough is truly enough. That's the lesson. That's what Japan taught us. And that's something worth thinking about next time we feel that familiar urge to buy something we don't really need or chase after a bigger paycheck at the cost of everything else. Sometimes the richest life isn't the one with the most stuff. Sometimes it's the one with just enough and the wisdom to know the difference.